Good morning and welcome to the Coffee with Chris show. It is Tuesday, December 29th. Today I've got a great show for you. So as usual, I can't see who's watching unless you jump in the comments and say, hey. Also, I want to encourage some conversation today. So make sure you are in the comments, join the conversation, and do all of the things. The Coffee with Chris show website is coming along nicely. I am creating some blog posts pretty regularly now, so you can jump on over to the coffeewithchrisshow.com, join the mailing list that I've now created, and also check out the blog post and be as interactive as you would like. Good morning, Ezra. Good morning, Camden. Good morning, Rick. And good morning, Nick. How are you all doing today? I've got the crew in. A bit of updates, and I guess people call this housekeeping updates. So Tuesdays, I've changed this a couple of times. I did trivia, and then I tried to do the top 10, but what I'm going to end up doing is doing the top 10 as a separate show on YouTube. And I'm going to bring back the news, which I realize how much I actually enjoy doing the news. And sometimes it takes walking around the entire parking lot to get back to your car. So here we are back doing the news once a week. We used to do the news on Thursdays. I will now be doing it here on Tuesdays. And so make sure you head over to coffeewithchrisshow.com. I'll make sure I have all these episodes updated. I am trying my best, make sure that everything's I've got a nice little schedule and creating some consistency for y'all. Good morning, Heather. Let's jump into the news. I'm actually really excited about these news today. I think I need to move myself this way so that I have space for the news. Okay. So the first story, also, if you wanted to check out the links to all of the stories that I'm talking about today, make sure you join the Coffee with Chris show group, and you can have access to all the links to everything that I'm talking about. Let's start with the first thing today, which we're going to talk about the movies that came out this Christmas, starting with Wonder Woman 1984, which came back. What coffee are we trying today? I'm actually not trying a new coffee today because I'm still trying to figure out my coffee maker, because it's a 1 cup, and it didn't yield a whole cup of coffee today. I don't know what's happening with that, but I am still drinking from my Baby Yoda cup. So today I'm actually drinking my old favorite, my Santo Domingo coffee, which is Dominican coffee, and it is delicious, and just, I don't know, it's everything to me. I will check my messages. Thank you, Camden. So Wonder Woman. I don't know if I like this coffee pot. I don't know. I use the Santo Domingo because it's a coffee that I don't mind if I make it a little strong. I think I made it too strong. Oh well, whatever. We'll see how this lands. This movie came back with mixed reviews. I was not a fan of it, but I also didn't watch the other Wonder Woman movie that came out before. And that this was particular to me. I thought it was super gay. I was looking forward to some amazing gay sex during this entire movie, and it just never happened. Also, I watched it while we were making Christmas dinner, so but normally when you watch a movie and you're doing other things and it seems kind of interesting, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go back and watch it. No interest in going back to actually watching this movie. It didn't seem like it had a great the plot just seemed blah, and it was weird seeing Kristen Wiig as a villain. I don't know, that was weird. And I'm a huge Kristen Wiig fan, It just got really weird to me. And why is Chris Pine so old? When did he get this old? But please check the link to the review of this movie and take it with a grain of salt. A lot of people loved it, so I'm glad that people actually really enjoyed it. I just didn't happen to really love it. I feel like I feel like I'm very close. Okay, my green screen's all showing up. Okay. So like I just happen to not really enjoy it, and that is just kind of where I landed with that. Yeah. If you enjoyed it, Ezra enjoyed it. But also they said that it makes no sense without seeing the first one. So that's fair. That's fair. I don't know. I don't know if I'm interested enough. I'm so deep in the MCU. I love those movies so much that like getting into a DC universe movie is not really something I was super interested in, but I don't know. You know, if you liked it, great. If not, I get it. So it just became very polarizing. It was very interesting to see how many people, I mean, it was either you loved it or you didn't. So I'm going on to the next one. So the next movie that came out on Christmas that I watched last night, and if you follow me on Facebook personally, you know that this was, it was too much last night, was watching Soul from Pixar. Holy shit. Why, like, that's what I'll do. I'll move over. Why would you do this, Disney? Like, this was inappropriate. Not okay. And can suck a dick. Because too deep. Way too deep. But okay. So let me, so this movie has a lot of layers to it. So the first layer is, let's just talk about what the movie is about. So the movie is about, and I'm sorry if this is a spoiler, but I'm just going to give an overall like plot. The movie is about a jazz musician who prematurely dies, and his soul his soul gets taken out, you know. And the way they tell afterlife is that, you know, your soul goes to the great beyond, but he tries to get back into his body, and in order to do that, he had to mentor a unborn soul, which was played by Tina Fey. So the jazz musician is played by Jamie Foxx. The unborn soul is played by Tina Fey, and the whole thing was about, you know, trying to. The idea is that before unborn souls can be born, they have to find their spark or their thing that like makes them want to live, and too fucking much. So like I'm going through my whole like, why the fuck? Okay, so I will explain myself through my Facebook post that I made last night, which is like the ways in which I identify and kind of flowed into this movie was that I've been on this hustle. The way that I have been like navigating my life like this for 20 years. I have been gig to gig, project by project, you know, making it through and never ever finding any real stability or success at anything that I've ever done. And when I decide that I want to do something and create something, I don't think about the money. Like, that's like the last thing I'm thinking about. I would love to make, like, my whole goal would be like, can I do this for enough time that it would actually start to feed me, like with money? And more times than not, it every time it doesn't. But like my passion for what I do is just so strong. And then I'm just like, but what exactly is that passion? Because I do so many things, right? So I'm a photographer, I'm a performer, I create events, I do things like this show. I had at one point done web design, I've done graphic design for people. Like, I really enjoy the process of creating. And it is so frustrating to me that this is the thing that like moves me through my life, and not like going to college and getting a job and being able to like buy myself a house and a car and take care of myself and do all the things that other 40-year-old people can do. And it is not what my life looks like at all. If it was not for my wife, I would not have the stability that I have right now. And I mean, I'm super fucking grateful for it, but I hate being in that position that's what, you know, our relationship looks like. And I'm grateful that she allows me to do this nonsense. But that whole movie like really put me in a place where I was like, I was not ready to feel those feelings right now. And it made me question, the fuck am I doing? Like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't know. I just keep getting up and doing it. And yes, every day my alarm goes off at 7 a.m. And more times than not, I wake up at least a half an hour before my alarm goes off. And I like being up early, and I like getting ready for the show, and it's all very important to me. And yeah, I will spend money on good coffee and mugs and all of that shit because this shit is so deeply important to me. And I hope that one day I can make it a thing where I can turn it into something that will feed me. But like, a part of me doesn't even care. Like right now was 5 people watching this, and I could care less. I'm fine with it. I don't know how to like become a person where hundreds and thousands of people watch my videos. Like, that's weird to me, and I don't even know if I even want that. I like the fact that I can sit here and talk to you and be very intimate with y'all in the morning, and I feel connected to you, and I feel like I, you know, can give you a voice, and we can all speak our truths to one another and have space to kind of take care of ourselves in a way of just being honest and true to who you are as a person. That shit to me is deeply important. And, you know, it just sucks that like, and that whole like relationship between the dude and his mother, like that was super relatable. You know, getting that government job with, you know, security and benefits and all of that stuff, but like how often I just can't get myself to do that thing and find that financial security and actually put my, you know, mother's mind at ease for, you know, being able to take care of myself. Like, that's a huge deal. And for some reason, my body and brain will not allow me to do it. And so here I am. And that's something that this movie really brought out of me, is just that, Jesus Christ, is it fucking worth it? Or what the hell am I doing? And I don't know. I don't even have an answer for it. And I just am like, I'm just going to keep doing this until I figure it out. I don't know what else to do. You know what I mean? You're like, I don't know what else to do. So, if you haven't seen this movie, watch it. It's traumatizing. But if you, you know, if you have, I hope that, you know, it didn't like fuck your night up the way it fucked my night up. And so the other side of it, the link that I posted that was the review of this movie was a really big criticism to, you know, a really big criticism to the movie, which had a lot of racial undertones, which I'm always here for that shit. But this one, I feel like it's a cartoon, and that, you know, I feel like they kind of address the fact that even though Tina Fey played this like little, you know, unborn soul, that she acknowledged that she could change her voice and mimic whatever because she's not a person. And that to me felt satisfactory enough to kind of remove race out of that whole situation. But I could totally understand and see how watching, a black man who's been down on his luck and finally getting his big break and then dying. And then the only way that he can actually live out his dream was to help this white woman. Like, I understand how that can come off. It just, for me personally, didn't register that way because of the premise of the whole, the plot was that this soul isn't actually a person and its voice and, whatever can be of whoever. So like, I don't know. That just didn't resonate. That criticism didn't resonate with me for that. But I'm not trying to say that it's not valid. It's all, it's valid. But speaking of racist, I'm gonna move on. Speaking of racist, so Gina, where did I do it? Her name is Gina Carano, which sucks because she's hot, is like super Trumpy and anti-masker and has said a lot of transphobic nonsense on Twitter and is questionable. Posted some weird photo of a Nazi rally and then like tried to backpedal out of that. One of the big transphobic things she's done was a lot of people have amended their usernames on Twitter to include their pronouns, and so she thought that was funny and has her pronouns as beep, boop, and bop or whatever, and did not understand why people were including their pronouns, and just was just doing a lot of questionable stuff. Super pro-Trumpy, super, and then just a lot of racist, anti-Black Lives Matter, things like that. So, I think there are a lot of people calling for her dismissal on the show, because what she's not going to do, what we're not going to do is let this racist chick like ruin Baby Yoda for us, because Baby Yoda didn't do anything to nobody except for want to eat chicken nuggets and like play and eat frogs. And here she goes and she's all racist. Do not fuck up this show for everyone. Please just go away. If Disney knows what's good for them, they would just fire her and let her die off and move on. Not cool, not a good move. She's gotta go. And I'm so mad that she's so hot. Urgh. Just unfortunate. But speaking of another bad bitch, Nancy Pelosi is the fucking baddest bitch of at least these last couple of weeks. What Nancy Pelosi did was, to me, fucking genius. Now, right before Christmas, they finally had passed the stimulus for $600 stimulus checks to everyone, plus the 11 weeks of unemployment, amongst other things. It was to pass the budget and everything so that, one, the government didn't shut down and all the things. So they finally signed and passed this thing, and then Trump shows up and was like, one, he's mad about a couple of things added in the bill, which included some social media regulations and stuff like that. But then he says that $600 is not enough and that we should be getting $2,000. Now, Nancy Pelosi, I fucking loved how she played this. She was like, sure, we'll give everybody $2,000. That sounds great. But the only way we're going to amend this bill right now is if I get a unanimous vote to say that we're going to give everybody $2,000. So of course she knew that those Republicans were not going to go for this shit. which was brilliant. So now you have all these Republicans who are voting against something that Trump wanted, right? Which was already fantastic enough, knowing that she was going to put the bill through the House yesterday, which didn't need a unanimous vote. And so she just really just allowed all of these fucking Republicans to go against Trump and be like, hey, let's see how that plays out. Then she puts the bill through yesterday and it passes. So that's now going to the Senate. So now you've got Mitch McConnell and all these other pro-Trumpers who now have to go vote against Trump to block this $2,000 stimulus check. And I think this is probably the most brilliant thing that she has ever done. And thank you, Nancy Pelosi, for being that bad bitch of the last couple of weeks, or the last week, for being such a fucking dick about this. It was just such a great move. The fact that it took this long just to get to giving us the $600 and extending unemployment. I mean, they have been working on this stimulus since the summer and still hadn't come into an agreement until it came to a point where they had to make a budget to prevent the shutdown. I mean, that was what it is. So Mitch says that they're going to pass it. Let's see. I think this is hysterical. It is absolutely hysterical. And I mean, just when you think that things can't get more interesting on Trump's way out of the White House, like, this shit keeps happening. Thank you. This was great. So, you know, hopefully we get a couple of, you know, few grand coming into our big accounts. Let me see, which one do I want to do next? Let's see. So speaking of Christmas, TSA says that there were a record number of people traveling for Christmas this year, which is horrible, because of COVID. So as we knew that there was going to be a spike after the holiday, which we might not feel until probably next week, all of these people decided to, travel anyway after the big spike after Thanksgiving. Like, that wasn't a warning enough. I guess people are getting very comfortable because there's a vaccine out, which there is not enough for us to get right now. That's fair, B. I mean, I believe that, didn't they passed the budget. They passed the budget because Trump signed the budget on Sunday. So the budget is done. It's just the $2,000 right now. Now the budget is done and they've passed it. Trump signed it. The government is not going to shut down. They're good. He didn't want to sign it because, like I said, there are things in that budget that he wasn't super happy about, but he signed it anyway because they didn't want to shut the government down. So, they passed that part. So all these people traveled on for Christmas. I think people are getting excited because there's a vaccine. And like I said, that vaccine is going to be very slow to get to everyone. It is going to take a good little while for everyone to get it. I believe the other day I saw that Maryland, he vetoed the military budget. I gotta read all this shit because I'm just like, what did he sign on Sunday then? Nonsense. Anyways, I understand that, you know, if you feel uncomfortable about this vaccine, it is going to take us a good little while before everyone gets it. There's not going to be a thing where, you know, you're going to come back from Christmas vacation and then you can just walk into a pharmacy and get this vaccine. It's still rolling out and it's going to take some time. There are a lot of people in this country. So we still have to be safe, and this is just not the way to do it. So we'll see in the next couple of weeks how bad it got. record number of people traveled for the holidays. Just not wild. Never going to understand. Let me see. What's the next story I want to talk about? Not Nancy Pelosi. Oh, so this, I found the article. This is a Chinese tycoon billionaire died because he was poisoned. And I found this interesting, because he's the person who, he's a games developer. He developed the Game of Thrones Winter is Coming strategy game. He has a net worth of about $1 billion in American monies. He says someone poisoned him. Hold on. Which is really unfortunate. This is like he's a media tycoon. He does a lot of he owns a company called Yozu, and yeah, it says details came in that he was poisoned, and based on and said that he went to the hospital because he wasn't feeling well, and then on Friday he just died. Just absolutely kind of weird and bizarre. So it's something that keeping an eye on to see what's going on and what happened with all of that. But I just found that story a little interesting because it was just like, why is this trending? Things that are trending. So going into the next thing, which is this black doctor, the black physician who died of COVID. Her name is Dr. Susan Moore from Indianapolis. She tested positive for COVID-19 on November 29th and was hospitalized at the Indiana University Health North is what it's called. She got on Facebook at the beginning of the month and included some videos of herself from the hospital bed and telling people about the unfair treatment that she was receiving because she was black, and she believed that was because she was black. Now, this is the conversation that has been it's been a big topic of conversation for many years, but especially during this time of COVID, around black folks getting proper health care from hospitals, especially right now. And the I'm reading comments. Okay. So so getting proper health care in the hospitals for black folks has always been difficult. I know for a fact that I've gone to the hospital and have been treated like I was just trying to get meds or not taking seriously of my pain. Been given very low grade pain management medication to manage my issues, and then sent on my way with very little help for any kind of thing. So when the biggest example is last year when my back went out and it was really bad. If any of you were at night shift that night where I could not walk at the end of the evening, I went to the hospital and, into the emergency room. They completely treated me like I was trying to get like opioids or whatever. And I'm just like, I can't walk. Like I had to get a wheelchair in order for me to get in. They made me walk to the bathroom to do a piss test before they would treat me, which they tried to say was a pregnancy test, which I knew was a actual drug test. But the bathroom from where I was at was a good little bit away, and I couldn't walk, and they had taken the wheelchair away from me. So it took a long time for me to try to muster up enough strength for me to walk to the restroom to do this piss test. That was the most horrific thing ever. And then when everything came out obviously negative, because I was very honest, I was like, yeah, I smoked a little weed because I'm in that much pain. And I was like, I'm just being honest. I'm just like, pain is absolutely through the roof. And so when they finally came in to give me some meds, they gave me a steroid shot from a needle that was like this big and didn't tell me what it was, didn't tell me they were giving me a shot, didn't tell me anything. They literally walked in, they rolled up my sleeve, and the guy was about to jam me with this needle without any warning. And I was just like, what the fuck are you giving me? You can't just stick me with a needle and not tell me what you're doing. Like, it was completely inappropriate. Then he told me what it was, and then he still just stuck me without any kind of warning. It was excruciating. And I give myself a shot every week. This was probably one of the worst experiences I've ever had in hospital. But to see Black folks going to the hospital now for COVID, and not being treated and not being prioritized for ventilators, and being treated like their pain isn't real, or that, Black folks can handle more pain, which has been one of the number one things, is that Black folks can handle more pain. Because I know that, I have a friend who actually is going through a lot of things right now, who had been to the hospital with very little help and assistance and sent on her way with just some Advil. Where I have a friend that is a white woman who will go to the hospital. I mean, and she gets all of the pills. I mean, seriously, if I am in a lot of pain, I could hit her up and just be like, you got some pills. And that is something that is common right now, especially with Black women, is connecting in with other people to get proper meds and trying to figure out how to medicate yourself. My wife, for instance, has had friends send her pills because, as many times as she tries to explain her situation to her med doctor and all of this other stuff, she's still getting like low level medication to manage her issues. And this is not just from white doctors to Black patients. This also happens from Black doctors as well. And it is a inherent bias that, Black folks can handle more pain and need less assistance. And this doctor highlighting this was so deeply important, because not only is this a Black woman talking about her experience, this is a Black woman who actually works in the medical field. She's a surgeon, and knows that this level of discrimination and racism exists in healthcare. And I am so happy that she was able to share her story before she died, because that conversation needed to come up in a really real way, where so many people are going to the hospital for COVID. And one of the bigger conversations are happening in Black community is that people are going to the hospital for small things and being listed as COVID patients when they may or may not actually have COVID, and kind of left to die in the hospital when they might have had a treatable thing going on with them. I've seen a couple of posts and comments around people who've lost loved ones to COVID, and it really wasn't COVID. It was something that was treatable, but they were left to die and just marked as a COVID patient, and kind of discarded. And it's really disgusting. This happens on a regular fucking basis, and it's not new. It's not an old conversation. And so B just said, it's been well documented that your perceived race determines your health outcome. It's not even about how much money you have at that point. Medical stats support this. Yes, my friend that I was telling you who's going through what she's going through, she has really great insurance. She has really great insurance. You know, Sydney and I are on, you know, Sydney works for the state. We have great insurance. Paying the medical bill is not a problem. The hospital is going to get paid. The problem, it comes to, you know, what you look like. And it is incredibly disturbing and fucked up. And I think it's something that, like, you know, even though I'm trans, I still was raised and grew up to be a black woman. And I will never, ever deny that part of my life, because I've saw my mom who struggled, and she had a fibroid tumor that was huge. It was a really big tumor she had. And she walked around with that tumor for years in pain, because she knew what that shit was going to look like when she went to the hospital. And it was exactly what she thought. Like, she went to get surgery, and she should not have come home as fast as she did, because they had to cut all the way across her abdomen to remove this tumor. It was that big. And she was only in the hospital for like 2 or 3 days. She wasn't there long, and they sent her home. She shouldn't have been able to move because that scar was so sensitive across her abdomen of what they removed that tumor. My grandmother, for example, went to the hospital. I can go on and on, but like, my grandmother went to the hospital for something, and they put a stent in her, and they sent her home without removing it. I mean, they had it just hanging out of her. So she had a big open wound on her abdomen, and sent her home from the hospital like that. And I remember walking in the kitchen one day with my mom, and my grandmother was like, I don't know why they left this thing in me. This hurts. I don't know why this is still here. And my mom looked at it. She was like, oh my God, we have to go to the hospital right now. And they shouldn't have sent you home like that. Oh God, that's bringing back a lot of really horrible memories. But yeah. And you're talking about, we come from a military family. My grandmother had very great military insurance. Nothing to do with the money. So there is a bigger reason why black people are disproportionately dying from COVID at a higher rate. And this is one of them. And, this is a conversation that needs to be a little louder, and we need to like push forward a little bit more, because a lot of black people are dying from COVID, and they may or may not have actually had COVID. And even if they did, they're just left to die. So I'm just happy that she was able to share her story, and it's just really, just fucks with me. It's just so real. So fucking real. Let's see. All right, the next story is Giant Food announced today that they were going to be, they said they're going to roll out new shelf labels promoting minority-owned businesses. So it says, beginning next year, shoppers at Giant Food stores will notice a number of changes, the company said, will highlight products from minority-owned businesses. The grocery store chain announced this month that it will start putting shelf labels on all of the stores that will let shoppers know what products come from women, Black, Asian, Indian, Hispanic, LGBT, Asian Pacific, and veteran-owned companies. A total of 3,100 products will get the labels, and they will roll out next month. And the labels will also be featured online and in the store's app, so that you'll also be able to see it, like if you do Instacart and all that stuff. Which I think is great. The comments for this story were very interesting. from what I understand, someone posted, and I think it was from a source that I think I can rely on, and I didn't Google this this morning, was that Giant is actually created by two Jewish people, and which is why they have such a great kosher selection, from what I understand. This is what this person posted. So, and this is not it shouldn't have been an unusual or surprising move for Giant to do something like this. So, which is great to me. Some people actually have a lot of issues around this. I don't feel like it's an issue. I feel like, okay. Giant's a little expensive. I only go there if when I'm on my way home from Clifton, because it's in Hamden, and sometimes I could just run in and yeah, I mean, it is definitely one of the most expensive food chains. Like, that's why I don't really hold a high opinion about this. Giant is very expensive. It bothers me that there's a Giant in Reisterstown Plaza, because like there's so many people out there who need to get groceries in that area, and like that is such a big hub for public transportation and things like that. But there's a Save More. There's another grocery store right next to it. Never mind, so let me take that back. But it's very expensive, and Giant, you do you. I don't really know. Rick's got the Rick's the correspondent here. In 1962, Giant opened its first combination food store and pharmacy located in Glen Burnie in the Southdale Shopping Center. Israel Izzy Cohen inherited the family mantle in 1964 and built the company into the 12th largest food chain in the United States. Okay, so then that does make sense. Okay, but all right, Giant, do you? Like I said, the comments around that. So if you are following WJZ here in Baltimore on Facebook, very colorful comments. I just let you know. There are just a lot of racist people around here. It's like, it's not hurting anybody. They're paying for the labels. I don't care. Okay, then I have... So I talked about this briefly yesterday, but the person who was responsible for the bombing in Tennessee was named, I believe, last night or yesterday or the other day. Yeah. So the person who was the bomber was actually in the car. His name is Anthony. Warner, and he was 63 years old. He's a very solo type person. They went on and talked about his personality. Apparently before, since Thanksgiving, he had been purging his possessions. He even got rid of his home. He gave away his car. He told his girlfriend that he had cancer, and he and then Christmas Day, he decided he was going to drive his RV downtown in Nashville, and he played this he rigged the car with explosive and a speaker set to play a warning and a song, and when the warning went off, people tried to clear the streets. Very minimal people got hurt. I believe I think there are only a handful of people got hurt, but he was the only person to die because he was in the car, and they had found his remains in the rubble because he was blown up. But they have trying to figure out why and what this was about. So that's where they are. I mean, this is tragic to do this on Christmas morning, and I don't know. This was just is very bizarre, and I know there were a lot of conspiracies around this being politically charged and all this stuff, and there's just no evidence of that right now, and it's just everybody just seems very very interesting to see how that kind of plays out. I guess they're going to start interviewing all the people that he knows and stuff like that, and seeing what they can piece together as far as why. So that's kind of where that landed. And geez, let me see, what else do I have here as we are turning the page to the end of the show. I think the last one is this: the New Year's Eve fireworks celebration here in Baltimore is canceled this year. So let me see, this is Fox 45. It says there will be no fireworks at the Inner Harbor this year thanks to ongoing COVID-19 restrictions. The Baltimore Office of Promotion and the Arts announced today that they are canceling the annual New Year's Eve Spectacular, which includes fireworks and live music and attracts crowds to the Inner Harbor. This is to maintain safety and public health. It is not possible to produce a celebration at the harbor this year. We look forward to gathering together once it is safe to do so, and continues to plan for a new year full of arts and cultural experiences. So yeah, no fireworks, which I'm surprised. I would at least think that they would just set the fireworks off. They didn't need to have all of the hoopla, but I enjoy being able to kind of see the fireworks from my porch, and that's not going to happen. So we'll see what the kids do in the alleyways. Jesus. It says, Target got the same treatment when they started doing promotion of the minority products thing, with like when they started promoting LGBTQ products and stuff like that during Pride. And as far as the last story, B says, this reminds me of the doc thread where the guy built a DIY tank to terrorize his hometown. Everyone thought he was a great guy, but his tapes revealed he was paranoid, delusions, and rage. Wow. Just nuts. We just don't know. But yeah, no fireworks this year. Just be safe. Just stay home and watch my show, because we are doing the Fuck 2020 show again, the remix, and that's going to happen on New Year's Eve at 10 p.m. and we'll count down together to the new year. So yeah, that is the show I have for you today. Later today, I will be doing the top 10 that I have now on YouTube. I am going to try to have it up by 8 p.m. So I'm going to pre-record it and post it up on YouTube by 8 p.m. tonight, Nick, because you were asking. And yeah, and then starting next week, that top 10 show is going to go to Saturdays. And I am still working out some of the finer details of that, so that I will announce that to you when I have that. And tomorrow we're doing the question of the day, which is what your New Year's resolutions are. So let's talk about what we want for next year. I know New Year's resolutions are kind of a weird thing to try to do now, considering all of the ways in which we tried to do them last year. And then Thursday, Sydney joins me as we do our gratitude practice of the top 10 best moments of 2020, which I'm encouraging you all to post your top 10 best moments of 2020 in the Coffee with Chris Show group, so that we can all practice our gratitude for the things that we do have, instead of kind of thinking about how horrible the year is, and we can end on a high note. So until tomorrow, I hope you all have a fantastic day. Take care of yourselves. Make sure you like, share, and follow the Coffee with Chris Show page. Make sure you join the Coffee with Chris Show group. And also, you can jump on the Coffee with Chris Show website and join the mailing list. Also have mugs and pens for sale, as well as if you want to drop a couple dollars in my Venmo to say, this is a great show, thank you for doing that. That would be helpful. All the information has been scrolling here at the bottom of the screen. Until tomorrow, I will see y'all next time. Thank you so much for watching the show. And yeah, take care of yourselves. Be safe. Please be safe and make good decisions. Make great decisions today. All right. I'll see y'all tomorrow.